Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make beddings for our Logan's bed. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who commented and suggested the colors to me. And now let us get started. For tools, I'm using the regular tools that I've always been using, in addition of pins and chalk. Thread and hand sewing needle as an option. For materials, we need 1 handful of polyester fill, 1 inch thick foam, 10 by 20 inches, half a yard of 1/4 of an inch elastic. For fabric, we need about half a yard to cover the mattress. You can also use a used t-shirt for this mattress. And for the fitted sheet and the blanket, we need about 1 yard, but if you're doing reversible, you can use half a yard for each. And for the pillows, we only need like a minimum cut for these pillow fabrics, so it's like 1/10 of a meter or 1/5 of a yard. For the foam and fabric preparation, you can actually cut out the foam with fabric scissors, and all the measurements are listed on the sticker or under my description box. Let's start with the mattress finishing. I placed the top piece of fabric with the wrong side up, then place the mattress on top, turn it over with 1/2 inch seam allowance, and glue it all the way around. And at the corner here, I add hot glue at the 45-degree angle and use my thumb, and I just fold it up and make sure that the seam is straight and apply that for all 4 corners. And once that's done, you place the bottom piece of fabric with the right side out and fold the seam allowance in by 1/2 inch and seal all the edges. With this fitted sheet, I fold the fabric in half, press it nicely, and then measuring by 3 inches on both sides, draw a line, and then I add 1/2 inch seam allowance towards the outside, then make that cut. And at the corner, I slip a cut as well, and that's going to be done for all the 4 corners. Here I'm demonstrating the hot glue option as well, and I normally use the popsicle stick just for it's as a guide and for a straight line. For the sewing machine option, let's fold the fabric right side together. Use a pin and pin at 90-degree angle, and then put it under the pressure foot. For the first few stitches, go back and forth, and then sew a straight line towards the end, go back and forth again to secure the seam down, and apply that to 4 corners. For the edge finishing, we can always turn the raw edge and stitch around. I prefer to use the serger, so if you have a serger, just serge it for a cleaner finish. And then turn it in by 1/2 inch. And start sewing with 1/4 inch in from the edge and sew it all around. I use elastic and cut it out into 4 equal parts. I fold in half and match it with the corner seam of the fitted sheet and stretch it to the max towards both sides, so it indicates what I should start sewing the elastic down. And so I place it under the pressure foot, start sewing back and forth, and start sewing. So once I sew, I have to stretch the elastic to the max. Once it reaches towards the other end, I go back stitch again, and I do that with all 4 different corners. I like to incorporate the hand sewing needle option for people who don't have a machine. So let's make a knot on the thread and sew the elastic a few times back and forth just to secure it, and then start a very tiny stitch through the elastic and then go down, and at the fabric section give it a bigger stitch about 1/4 inch and go up, go through the elastic and make a tiny stitch again and go through the fabric, and at the fabric section again give it a 1/4 inch stitch length. So that way it will get more gathers as you go, and once you stretch your elastic out, and this way the fabric will stretch out as well. And once we reach towards the end of the other side of the elastic, we just sew it back a few times just to secure everything. And here I'm showing 4 different elastic corners with both machine and hand sewing option. The comforter finishing part is really easy, so I place the right side of the fabric together and stitch all the way around with 1/2 inch in from the perimeter and leave 2 inches opening, and don't forget to sew back and forth. Clip all the 4 corners, turn the piece inside out, and then I could use my fingers to poke out the 4 corners, and once the piece is being turned inside out, I use a pin or hand sewing needle to pull out the corners. I close the opening with hot glue. I am making 6 pillows here, so I'm using the sewing machine option, the hand sewing machine option, and hot glue option. So it's just very easy for the machine sewing option. I'm just doing it the same way as the comforter. For this silver pillow here, I'm using the hot glue option, and I normally use a popsicle stick as a guide just for it to form a straight line. I glue it around the edge, leaving 2 inches opening as well. Clip all the 4 corners, turn it inside out, and then put it aside. For the hand sewing needle, again, I start with a knot and sew it around with a very fine, like 1/8 of an inch stitch length, and sew it in 1/2 of an inch from the perimeter and sew it around, leaving about 1.5 or 2 inches opening. And now I'm clipping all the 4 corners of all the pieces. Turn them inside out. Again, use a pin or hand sewing needle to poke out the 4 corners, to pull them out and put them aside. For all the pieces to be nice and neat and all the seams to be sharp without any puckering, I use an iron to press them all. So for all the pillows, I press them on both sides. For the fitted sheet, I just want to make sure that my stitching lines are nice and straight, so I iron all around the edge and turn it over and iron the inside. And for the comforter, I just want to make sure that all the edges is nice and crisp and sharp, so I iron along the edge and then iron on both sides and put them all aside. And now for the pillows, I'm adding the stuffing in to a desired thickness that I want, and seal the opening with hot glue. And that's done. So now the fun part is here. So I just cover the mattress with a fitted sheet, place it on the bed, and then place a comforter over and just design the pillow the way you want, and we're done. So what do you think about this color combination? I think I like it a lot. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who commented and suggested the colors to me. I think Logan loves his bed and his bedding. Once again, thank you for spending time with me. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.
Bye.